All right, today we're jumping into a really fantastic story. It's about a man named Madhav, a simple kachori seller from the village of Rampur. His journey, from a humble food stall to becoming a local legend, gives us this incredibly powerful lesson about what success really means and what can happen when you build a business on a foundation of, well, pure integrity. So let's just start with the main idea of the whole story because honestly, it's the key to everything. This one principle, no business is greater than humanity, was like the North Star that guided every single decision Madhav ever made. And this wasn't just some nice little saying, for him it was his entire business model. Okay, so our story really kicks off with Madhav making a very tough choice. He literally walked away from a pretty good career to go back to his roots and build something he could actually be proud of, trading the bright lights of a city hotel for something much, much more authentic. See, Madhav used to be a chef in a big city hotel, but he was just surrounded by compromise. He got so tired of the disrespectful owner, the dishonest practices, the corner cutting, so he quit. He traded the city for his home village, totally set on building a small food stall, a dhaba, that was based on the exact things that hotel lacked: purity, dignity, and real authentic flavor. Now, at first, the villagers were kind of skeptical. A big city chef selling street food. But then the village head, the sarpanch, took just one bite, and he was completely blown away. That single, powerful endorsement was all it took. Suddenly, Madhav's reputation started spreading like wildfire. But as Madhav's fame grew, his success didn't just bring in a line of happy customers. Oh no, it also attracted something way more dangerous: the jealousy of his competition. And this, right here, is where the story really starts to get interesting. And just look at this contrast, it says it all. So meet Donnie Ram. He was the village's established sweet seller. And for years, he'd been getting away with using stale oil and, not so great spices. Madhav's success, which was built on freshness and quality, didn't just take his customers, it basically shone a giant spotlight on all of Donnie Ram's shortcuts. And his jealousy just started to boil over. And that jealousy very quickly turned into sabotage. Donnie Ram actually filed a formal complaint with the village council, the Panchayat, accusing Madhav of being unhygienic. But oh man, did that plan backfire. When the council showed up to investigate, they found Madhav's little stall was impeccably clean, describing it as sparkling like glass. Donnie Ram was completely humiliated. Donnie Ram's little scheme was just the beginning, though. Madhav was about to face two very different kinds of storms. One that came from the sky, and another, much more dangerous one, that was brewing in the hearts of his rival. First, a massive storm just completely destroyed his simple stall. He thought he was ruined. But just then, the very community he had served so well rushed to his rescue. They brought tarps for his roof, dry firewood. They refused to let his business fail. And in that moment, he realized he hadn't just been selling food. He had been building goodwill, the purest kind of brand loyalty there is. And his commitment to that community was immediately put to the test. A wealthy contractor came along and offered him a modern shop in the city, the chance to earn millions. But Madhav turned him down flat. He told the man that the love of his villagers was a type of currency worth far more than money. He had totally defined his own version of success. Well, the contractor was deeply insulted. So he sought out the one person who hated Madhav as much as he did, Donnie Ram. And together, they came up with this truly vicious plan. They were going to poison the kachori spice mix and destroy Madhav's reputation and his customers' health for good. So now, this wasn't just about business competition anymore. This was a direct attack on Madhav's livelihood and everything he believed in. This was, without a doubt, the ultimate test of his character. But the plot completely failed. And it was all thanks to his employee, Kishan, who just happened to notice the lid on the spice container was a little loose. That was enough. Madhav, with his expert senses, took one smell of the mix and he knew something was terribly, terribly wrong. Without even a second thought, he threw the entire batch away, choosing to protect his customers over making a day's profit. And then, the story takes a dramatic turn. Donnie Ram's wife fell gravely ill and needed expensive treatment. But by this point, his own business was failing, and thanks to his terrible reputation, well, let's just say he'd burned all his bridges. No one in the village was willing to lend him a single rupee. This was the crucial moment, when Madhav saw his rival, the man who tried to ruin him, at his absolute lowest, broken and desperate. What do you think he did? He walked right up to Donnie Ram, handed him the money for the treatment, and repeated the very principle he lived by. No business is greater than humanity. That single act of compassion was the final, decisive moment of the entire story. It wasn't just charity, it was an investment that completely transformed his rival, his business, and the entire village. So let's look at the return on that investment. The results were just incredible. A truly remorseful Dani Ram completely changed his ways. Montov's little stall grew into a full-on restaurant, creating jobs for the village youth. And the village itself, Rampur, became famous far and wide as the Kachori village, even getting a personal visit from the district collector. This is what success built on integrity actually looks like. And his core principle never, ever changed. Even as his business got big enough to handle single orders for 500 plates of kachoris, his instructions to his staff always stayed the same. Profit comes second, taste and cleanliness are everything. He proved that you can absolutely scale a business without scaling back your values. Madhav's story really suggests that when your intentions are pure and your skills are sharp, lasting success is going to follow. It shows that integrity isn't just some virtue, it's a really powerful business strategy. And it leaves all of us with a pretty powerful question to think about in our own lives. What's the real bottom line that we're all chasing?